For this week's Wellbeing Wednesday, I want to talk about wearables and how they're being used to impact well-being. We know that clinically, medically, we're seeing devices being used to help with patient care for patients and clinicians to be able to track real-time data, to be able to set up plans of care, and seeing that individuals are adhering to these treatments, to be able to see physiologically how their body is responding, and even for those that are struggling with stress and anxiety, to see the physiological reactions that individuals are having when they're having episodes of panic and stress. We know that there are lots of pros that we're seeing coming out in research looking at the ability to monitor fitness, to be able to track this information, and that whenever we are monitoring something, that we can see positive impacts because we see behavior change based on what that feedback is. Individuals tend to eat healthier when they have to track the calories and what they're taking in. We see many people sleeping better when they're seeing what is impacting their sleep, and if they're eating certain foods or having a few drinks in the evening or when they're exercising, how that impacts their sleep and being able to adjust their behaviors accordingly. We can see the ability for it to be hands-free and portable. But there are also going to be con side of it, where for some individuals, using the wearable devices can cause them more stress if they're not hitting that optimal level, or if they're thinking that they need to be what the average or typical numbers are, but we know that it can be very individualized in terms of our physical health. We can also see some people being so connected to their devices and to technology that it detracts their abilities to have the interpersonal relationships, or they end up spending more time on their devices constantly looking at what's being tracked instead of being able to interact with the world in different ways. Additionally, we're still seeing that many of these devices are still needing the technology and the updates in terms of looking at battery life, remembering to charge them and put them back on. But for employers and organizations specifically, we're seeing that wearables are also being used more frequently within the workspace to help with workplace well-being and to have a positive impact on overall health. For employers, there are many recommendations that are coming out there from HR professionals and experts talking about the fact that having employees be really excited and invested in this, having them to be able to choose which devices they want to be using. Some would prefer to use certain watches and wearables and rings and different devices depending on what it is that they're going to want to wear and what's going to be most comfortable for them. But recognizing that sometimes these are not going to immediately change behaviors just because they're activity trackers. And some research shows that after time, people tend to use them less after they've gotten the initial impact and effect. So also finding out the ways to be able to engage employees to make it fun and have it be a part of the overall fitness plans and physical health plans as well as mental health plans. And recognizing that we want to be able to look at this as an aggregate, especially within the workplace, not singling a single person out so they still feel that it's their own personal information, but can make ways to have it be fun and exciting, like a team competition. So in general, we know that wearables can be positive, wearables can be stressful for some, and it's really figuring out that individual piece for you of what's going to work best to help you to be able to be physically and mentally well. Be well.